and welcome to the Harborview. I'm Joe Collymore. Are you finding it a challenge to get your kids to pick up a book this summer? Hingham Public Library can help. There's still plenty of time for kids and teens of all ages to get on board with the library's summer reading program. A universe of stories is a great way to keep younger kids motivated to read during the summer months with fun prizes for reading. Families are invited to stop by the library to register, pick up a copy of the summer reading program booklet, and stock up on books. Sixth graders and above have their own exciting summer reading program. No sign-up is necessary. Just pick up a pamphlet at the children's desk, check out the rules, and start reading. Teens can earn a variety of prizes by doing simple things: checking out a book, writing a short book review, or attending a fun library program. Don't miss out. Recently, 33 students working at Linden Ponds from various schools in South Shore received the Linden Ponds Student Scholarship. Since 2004, the Linden Ponds Student Scholarship Fund has awarded over $1 million in financial aid to hundreds of student workers to support their pursuit of higher education. The Linden Ponds Scholarship Fund is for student employees who work to attend a college or trade school beginning fall of 2019. To apply, students need to have worked at Linden Ponds during their junior and senior year and put in 900 hours of work. Those students will receive a total of $6,000 over 4 years of college. The money will be dispersed directly to their schools. For more information about the scholarship program and benefits of working with Linden Ponds, such as tuition reimbursement, visit jobs.ericksonliving.com. Always been curious about that building known as the Old Ordinary? Want to know more about its place in Hingham history? The Old Ordinary opened its 2019 summer season on June 15th. Through the end of August, tours will be offered Wednesday through Sunday at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and 3 p.m. Private or group tours are offered and are available by appointment now through November. Simply call 781-749-7721 or email oldordinary@hinghamhistorical.org. During the month of September, the Old Ordinary will be open on Saturdays and Sundays only. Our first guest is Carol Meyer, longtime journalist, reporter for the Hull Times, blogger for Harbor Media, and more recently, a writer for the Hingham Anchor. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you here today. Let's talk about the Hingham Anchor.
Okay. Well, the Hingham Anchor was created last October by two Hingham mothers and businesswomen, Hillary Jennison and Laura Winters. And it was kind of a soft opening. And then in February, they asked me to join them to cover the news aspect. And what it is, it's an online news and lifestyle resources, everything Hingham. It's all about the community, the people, the businesses, and also the actual news that comes out of town hall. And I think the main focus is to be positive, and yet to cover everything that's happening, but to always be objective and to have both sides given. But there's also so much fun things going on in the community. So that's really it, just covering everything Hingham in a positive way and including all the community, because it's really for the community.
I was going to say, as a veteran journalist, what are some of the things you'd like to do going forward with respect to the Hingham Anchor?
Well, I think just to continue to do what we're doing, because when I joined it, there was already a good foundation of features, the humans of Hingham. I think just to continue to include the whole community when they have events, to put them in our calendar, but also to do features when we can. Mm-hmm. And also to just continue to cover the development that's going on in Hingham. What we see is that people are very interested in what the new developments are, how they are moving along, the ones that are coming to reality. Some of them have been a little bit big or shocking, and I think that to keep covering that and to cover, I think, the affordable housing issue has been a kind of a big one, and just to continue to cover everything Hingham the way we are, and just maybe expand a little bit more to see what else we can cover that we're missing, and we invite, the community to give us suggestions.
What experience led you to become a journalist? Let's talk about some of your
This
personal
is so funny. Do you want to hear it?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. Come on now.
So when I was probably 8 or 10, before computers really were popular or not in the home, we had a little manual typewriter left over from my dad's office. And I used to have the Britain Gazette. It was a newspaper I did with carbon paper and, printer paper, although there weren't printers then yet, not really. And I used to do cartoons and little stories, and it was certainly not a newspaper, but it was the Britain Gazette with little stories for my family, and I think I sold it for 5 cents a copy, and it was just kind of funny. But then I went to the Christian Science Center to work, and I was interested in the Christian Science Monitor. And I'm not sure, because I really didn't have a journalism background, but I guess from the time I was little, I was always intrigued by it. And as I was, making my way through life, I sort of always thought it'd be fun to be on camera or to write. So when I went to the Christian Science Center, I worked in personnel for a while, human resources now, and then I had a chance to go to the secretarial pool of the Christian Science Monitor because there were no other openings. And I thought, wow, but by being there, I got to know all the editors, all the staff, and I was able to engage with them, and they knew I was interested in writing. So I started doing different things, like writing features and book reviews, and a lot of support, a lot of really good mentoring. And then I did like the children's page editor, and then there was a job that no one wanted to take in layout, and I took it. And so it was just kind of, that's what got me interested in seeing really top-notch reporters at work.
So you really got to experience a number of the different aspects relative to producing a paper, producing real quality journalist work.
Yeah. It was really a good experience there.
What are your thoughts about today in the context of our adversarial journalism, I think is one way to perhaps sum it up when we hear such buzzwords as fake news and deep fakes. What are your thoughts about all of that?
Well, I think there is fake news out there, but I think it's on both sides. I think if I was doing national news, I think I would try to interview the people, but to always be sure that both sides, if someone is said to be doing something outrageous on either side, Democrats, Republicans, whatever, that to always get the other side, like, why did you do that? You can't always get an answer, but at least make it clear to the reader that you did try to get the other side. And I also think I would love to meet with some of the most controversial people, from the president down to the Democratic candidates, because I think there's been a lot of negativity. But I think when you get down to it, people are people, and I think if there is just some way, even as a reporter, you could encourage dialogue, step back a little bit, put aside the differences as much as you can, and say, what are we really trying to achieve here? Because I'm sure nobody wants to see people in danger. Nobody wants to see people left out, but there's got to be some meeting of the minds between all the parties, all the people, to find solutions. Like, step back and just forgive all the parties is what I would think. And maybe as a reporter, even on the local level, you can do that with different issues. I think that's really important.
Over the years of your covering various subjects and individuals, tell me some of your most memorable experiences. Who, for example, might have been your most memorable guest interview?
Well, I'll tell you something I've been thinking about this just because I was. And one of the things that I really thought was the most compelling and made the most impression on me was a man named Tony Rosato, who was a townie. He had a vegetable garden. He lived across from Town Hall. He was up in his probably 80s and 90s. Eventually, when I knew him, he would come to meetings. He was such a gentleman. Even if he didn't think there was enough parking at Town Hall, or he thought something wasn't quite right, he always presented it like a gentleman. And one day he showed up, I wasn't home, my son said, this really nice man showed up on your door with tomatoes, our doorstep, and he had brought by some tomatoes. But so beyond that, so it turned out he had homing pigeons in his backyard. And as much as it doesn't sound as dynamic as maybe some big town thing, I just really was impressed with that. I mean, that somebody could have homing pigeons in their backyard and how it all worked. And to me, that was fascinating. And then you have things like the water company acquisition, which was controversial. But, at town meeting, people got along. It was civil. Afterwards, it was. I mean, there were times when maybe there were issues, but I just think that was controversial. But I think in the end, however you came out on your own opinion, that I think people are really trying to work together to make it work and to just move forward.
What would you like our listeners to key in on in going forward with respect to the Anchor?
Oh, right. I know. It's okay. No, there's another group called the Anchor that's
Yes.
that's based in Hingham that's helping people in recovery. Well, one of the things actually that we're asking people to tune in on or inviting them to is the opioid issue. It's controversial,
yes.
so we just started a series about that, and I think that's a huge thing. There were people that we ran into, and Laura and Hillary ran into when we were recognizing nurses, that we came across people that had been working with people and who have addictions, substance misuse disorder is what it's called now. So we're trying to get out there that there are issues. And last week we ran a story on a young man who lives in Hingham who had a very tough path to recovery, is now helping people through his music. And we posted it. 1,500 or more people had read it in one day and had shared it. So it was a good sign to me that people are clued in. And that is a huge issue because it affects the whole community.
Indeed.
And when people can recover and become active citizens, that's really cool. But also, I think, just to stay tuned to us for everything Hingham, really. From the new school superintendent who on the 4th of July we met,
Yes.
To him and what his goals are, to, as we said, the development, what's happening. Oh, the bathing beach. As innocuous as that all sounds, and it is, it's a fun place, but there's been some delays. And so people are going down there more. So just updates on all those things. And the main thing is the town is trying to connect downtown Hingham with the waterfront. And so the bathing beach building that's coming, new concession stand, bathhouse, is part of that. And while it doesn't sound like rocket science or the most important thing with all the crises going on nationally, it is important to Hingham and to keep, a sense of togetherness and a sense of cohesiveness to keep downtown Hingham vibrant, I think.
That bathing beach renovation, if you will, expansion, it looks very impressive, even though it's still in various stages of construction there. What are you looking forward to when it opens up again?
Well, I think, I'm not a swimmer, but I like to go to the beach to read. So I'm looking forward to, there'll be some more parking. I'm looking forward to, so Greg and Sarah from Tosca will be running the concession stand. I'm looking forward to that because there'll be the regular beach food, the hot dogs and the hamburgers, but also some other, I think, specialty items. So I'm looking forward to that, and there'll be a community room. And I just think it'll be kind of a finishing touch to the new sand that they have there, and the brick walkways that are so nice, and the grove that's there is so beautiful for picnics. So, and the farmers market, let's not forget that.
Yes, we can't forget the farmers market, and I was wondering if they were feeling a little anxious about how this construction was affecting them.
Well, there was something in the Anchor recently, it's still posted, by Linda Luke, who is the vice president, and Mark Cullings is the president. And so I think there is a little bit of, wondering what's going to happen, but they've been working closely with the Bathing Beach trustees. And so far, so good. I mean, there's been some disruptions in the sense of, everything isn't in place. But they're working around it, and the people are still coming very much to the farmers market.
Yes.
And but I think eventually they'll look forward to finding a permanent location, hopefully at that spot. That's the plan.
That's indeed. It's definitely become a landmark, if you will, particularly for not only our Hingham residents, but our neighbors in both Cohasset and Hull and Weymouth. They all come and look forward to coming out to the farmers market on Saturdays.
And the hours are 9 to 1 now, so it might be harder for the vendors to carry all their goods, but they're happy to do it. And I think people are passing by on 3A on their way, as I said, to Situate or Hull to boat. So and other things. So they stop on their way to pick up their lunch.
Are there any other new and exciting developments that we should know about?
Just trying to think.
Any new stories that you're working on?
Well, mainly just the opioid one. Just to mention again, because it is such a big thing. And again, looking forward to what's going to happen under Paul Austin as the new superintendent. And just keeping up with, school news and what's new with the schools. And also, yes, on Central Street, there is a proposal for a mixed-use development that's attracted a lot of attention. There's going to be a hearing July 22nd. And there's been, some pros and cons. People aren't real happy with it. But I think that's going to be a key piece of the downtown because it's right behind the community center. there's underground parking, but the Hingham Historic Districts Commission had an advisory role and asked them to scale it back. But I think that that'll be what people will be keeping their eyes on. In Settles Glass, the former site, a new mixed-use development was approved there, and people are really excited about what's going to happen. And who's going to move into the sub-galley? That hasn't moved. No one's moved in there yet. So I think that it'll all be kind of fun that way. And the new movers and shakers, and the Lincoln Building. Who's going to move into the Lincoln Building?
Yes,
which
I was
looks
going to
beautiful.
say that's just about completed now.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yes. I mean, it looks like almost like a well-restored original building. They did such a good job. So, yeah, all of that, I think.
That is great. Carol, let's talk about what's your experience been like as a contributor here at Harbor Media, and more specifically as a blogger to the new offerings that we've got.
Well, I love doing it. I mean, it's a small contribution, but I think it helps people know some of the things that are going on in the community. But in the Anchor, we do have a kind of a spirited approach. I mean, it's not just dead news, but with a blogger, you can give your opinion a little bit more maybe, and just say, what do you feel about this? And what was your most recent experience? Like at the bathing beach, what are you looking forward to with the newest development in town or something? But I just find everybody here is so supportive. And I think Harbor Media is just amazing, because I worked years ago when was Continental Cablevision. They did great things, but the equipment, it was much more equipment that was involved at that time. And every single, not successor after that has been good, but I think Harbor Media has taken things to the absolute ultimate level. I mean, they cover everything. They do a great job. They're everywhere you go. They're filming. They're doing all these special programs. And I think it's amazing. I'm really glad to be even a small part of it.
Well, I think your involvement just helping to expand this offering through blogging is definitely something we're excited about.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I am too.
You also were blogging during the 4th of July, were you not, during the parade?
I didn't, but I know, but I will say though, I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't, but Hillary and Laura, actually Hillary was blogging from town meeting during the water company acquisition in the rest of the meeting. So people are really into that now. So it's really cool. But I did do a preview, I think, of the 4th of July. That's what I did.
As an experienced journalist, what's been perhaps one of your greatest challenges, and what advice would you have for a young, aspiring journalist? Well,
I think my biggest challenge has been, because I tend to be conscientious, and so I want to make sure I get everything into the story, but you don't want to make it so long that it's too long. I think that has been, it hasn't been hard for me to be fair, because even if I have a strong opinion about something, I just seem to be the type who just does see both sides, even though I can get in my personal life fired up over a certain thing, with a friend or a family member or something. But I think just really being able to fine tune what you're writing, which I think I've done over the years. I hope that's been what I've done, and to get it all out there. I find that people do want to read the whole story, but to find creative ways to present the same topic over and over, but always focusing on what's new, but still trying to include all the past history that's needed to understand it. So that's the biggest challenge. But I would say to aspiring journalists, especially really newcomers, there still is room for newspapers. The Anchor is online, and we find that fills a real niche, because people go on all during the day. We post things, or Laura and Hillary do the posting, but I'll write something, I'll send it to them, it's posted like almost right away, and there's new content. So I do think that that's really important, and people have embraced it, but I think people still do enjoy reading newspapers. But I would say that if you're working for a newspaper, focus on the newspaper, do previews on your website, and then have the full story in the paper, and just to really embrace the community and to really get all the facts and all the details. And people think everything's quick, but with news, people do want to know what's going on. And I think that that's just to be complete in your coverage and to get all sides.
I want to thank you for coming out today and just sitting and chatting. And I'm going to ask you to promise to come on back. I know that there's going to be a lot more of topics that we can look forward to covering.
Yeah, I'd love to. It sounds good.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next guest today is Christie. an intern here at Harbor Media, and a student at Emerson College. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. I've been looking forward to this opportunity to talk to you.
Me too.
So let's start with what's your experience been like here as an intern at Harbor Media?
It's been great. I absolutely love it here. This is my first internship that I've ever done. And the people here are great. I've gotten to work on a lot of really fun projects. I got to help out with the 4th of July, coordinating your guests. So I've had a lot of fun since I've been here.
I'll tell you, that 4th of July and that work, I want to thank you because you really just went above and beyond. There were lots of moving parts. What was your biggest challenge during the 4th of July in covering that and helping with production?
I think it had to be when we sort of ran out of guests and we needed to fill the time. I sort of was sent out to scope things out and pull people off the street. So that was probably the biggest challenge, but it was still a lot of fun.
Let's talk about some more of your experiences here at Harbor Media. What else are you doing here?
I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a little bit of everything. I'm helping out with your show, and I've gotten to edit a lot of different projects. I just finished a piece about the Spreading Acts of Kindness group at the Hingham High School. They just painted a mural for their club in the high school. So I'm doing a little bit of everything, which is fun.
Now, when you first came to us here at Harbor Media, how did you find out about this internship? And what advice might you have for other students considering an internship at Harbor Media?
So I found out about Harbor Media, actually. My uncle is going to be the new superintendent of schools, Paul Austin. And he met up with Farzad and sort of put my name in there. So I had the right connection at the right place in the right time. And in terms of other interns for Harbor Media, I just suggest soaking as much in as you can and taking as much experience from this place, because I've gotten to learn a lot of things just by watching and observing. So I'd say to soak up as many experiences as you can while you're here.
Now, as a student at Emerson College, tell me about your aspirations. What are your goals and how did you first become involved in media?
So I've always been interested in media. You know, I'm a millennial, so I grew up in this technological age. And I've always wanted to work on movies. A funny story is when I was little, going to my first ever movie, I turned around and I pointed at where the projector was and I said, "Mommy, Daddy, that's where the movie's coming from." And so I've always had an interest in it, and I just really found a passion for post-production specifically. So at Emerson, I'm studying post-production and just sort of taking in as many classes as I can, and I sort of aspire just to move into the professional realm of editing.
You know, you're at the halfway mark right now here on this internship.
Yes, I am.
So what do you look to accomplish? What are you hoping to accomplish in this second half?
I'm hoping to accomplish sort of just continuing on this streak that I'm going on, building my portfolio. I've got some interesting ideas for a final project. I've been collecting quotes from the people here. We've got some pretty great personalities. So I've been sort of collecting little quotes and things that I hope to incorporate into a funny final project.
So I can't get you to reveal any more than that, huh?
No,
you want to keep it a surprise?
I want to keep it a surprise, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's fair enough. And so what are your career plans after graduation from Emerson?
You know, I'm going into my junior year and I still don't really know what I want to do. I'm sort of keeping things open and probably freelance starting out, but my hope is to work for a post house somewhere in the world, whether that be Boston, LA, Atlanta, Georgia, or even London. Just sort of working in post-production and doing what I love to do.
You mentioned Atlanta, Georgia. I used to live there in the metro area, and I understand that Atlanta and that metro area has become quite a hodgepodge and a hot spot for production, film production. Is that right?
Yeah, the past few years, it's really a lot of films are being shot down there, and it's really sort of becoming one of those big areas if you're interested in film production.
Anna, tell me, what aspect of production have you found the most interesting?
I like a little bit of everything, but I do have to say editing is really my passion. One of my first projects, I edited so fast that Chris was actually shocked. He was like, "You're done already?" So I've definitely developed a strength and an interest in editing since I've been here.
And that's editing in Premiere, right?
Yeah, Premiere. Yeah.
That's like right up there, current state of the art, so to
Yeah,
speak.
it's the industry standard program. So I'm getting good experience in it.
What else would you like us to know about you?
Oh, about me?
Yes, you, the personality. Anna, come on, talk to me now.
I don't know. I'm a big nerd. I love, Disney and sci-fi and all the movies, and I'm a storyteller. I love storytelling, whether that be film production, writing. I just want to spend the rest of my life telling stories and getting stories out there.
What's your favorite Disney movie?
My favorite Disney movie? I think it would have to be The Little Mermaid. It was my favorite film growing up. I always wanted to be Ariel, so I gotta say The Little Mermaid.
Very nice. So, you're not going to tell me any of the funny quotes that you're collecting on what I might have said, huh? You're not going to give not even one tiny hint?
No, not even one tiny hint. I wanna keep it a surprise.
Okay, well now you've got me wondering. Okay, good enough. Anna, it's been a real pleasure having you here at Harborview.
It's been wonderful talking to you, Joe.
You've just made this whole experience of bringing in these interns just a pleasurable experience, and I want to wish you continued success, not only here at Harbor Media, but continued success at Emerson College.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to seeing your name up on the big screen out there as executive producer one day. That's for sure. That means you got the big bucks to make it happen.
That's what we're hoping for.
Awesome. Anna, thank you.
Thank you so much.